Okay, I am going to show you some things I've been doing with the Canon R5 II and the RF 100 to 500. So I shot it in RAW files, and I'm going to convert them to JPEG, and I'll show you an easy trick how to do it. So I'm going to go to my share, which is right here, and then I'll do current application. So you see, there's my folder with all the files. Now what I am going to do is create a new folder, and I put JPEG, okay? So I'm going to convert them from RAW to JPEG. I select the first one. You scroll down. You select the first one with the Command key. The last one you select with the Shift key. Keep the left mouse pointer clicked down. Hit the Command. No, take that back. Just do a right mouse click. And then open with Preview. And it's loading. Okay. Now, I'm going to close that. Okay. Now, watch this. So it's on the first picture. So you go to Edit, you select all. And then you go to File, and you export, select images. And then I'm going to go right into the JPEG on my desktop. And I choose. And now it's doing about 100 photos from RAW to JPEG. You may have to do this a couple of times depending on how many pictures you've taken, okay? The reason why I put it in JPEG is because sometimes the file format in RAW is too big. So I just put it in JPEG, put up the pictures, and the quality is still looking good. And as you can see, it's taken a little while. Hopefully this is recording right now. Anyhow, just waiting for it to finish. And I'm almost halfway done. So I see it's also converting the RAWs to JPEG. So it does take a little while. This is only have 32 gigs of RAM. It's an M1 Max Studio. And it only has a 512 gig SSD also. All right. So it runs a little bit slower. On my N4 Pro, it would have been done already. And also on the 64 gigabyte M1 Max Pro, M1 Max Studio with 64 gigs RAM, which I call them Studio 64. It is much faster than the 32 gigabyte. But it's still working, still converting, and we will see the process. Now, I think I can go over here, and no, I can't down scroll yet because it's still thinking. And you have to worry about if it stops, okay? So it's taking a little bit longer than expected. I'll wait until it's done to come right back. Okay, let's go back to preview. All right. So it's done. I'm going to close this. And these are all RAW files because they have the CR3, okay? and I'm going to show you some things. So I go to JPEG, click on that. I will get all of them. And not all of them might have taken, all right? So open up with preview. And the way you can tell is you scroll down, and if it's blank at the end, then you know it didn't take. See, when you start seeing the black, it didn't take. And if I scroll up, see, this is one that was slowing down. And then you also got to see if it's memory problems. So it looks like 23 through 41, all the way to the end, okay? So you have to look at that. So what I do is I get out of preview and go here to 2341. And these are the JPEGs, right? And then all the way down to the end, I put it at trash, okay? Those are the ones that didn't take. So I load the raw pictures again, and I go from 2341. And the shift key on this last one. Open with preview. Now, file, export, and it should be in the JPEG. And it's that's where I wanted to go to. So it showed me that option for once. And you know what? I only did one file, okay? I thought I did select all of them. Okay. So if I go to JPEG, 2341 is right there. I only did 2341. So I messed up. So I'll redo it again. Edit, select all, file, export. Oh. And it's not, yeah, export. And then so it just crashed. It's not, it's only doing one file at a time. Okay, I had to empty the trash and then close the preview program. So I'm back there again. So I'll go to the preview. Now, you go to edit, you select all, and that should be 23 to 41 to the last one. And then you do a file, you do export selected images, and it's into the JPEG folder. And then you choose. And so now these should take, and now you have everything converted from RAW to JPEG. And then I'll show you the other reason why I like to use JPEG for YouTube, because there's a little slight delay with the RAW. But I really don't see any picture difference when viewing the two pictures, except that the JPEGs load up a little bit quicker. And there you have it. So if I go to the JPEG, and what I'll do is preview, quit. I'll go into the JPEG. You'll see from 2341, it goes all the way to the end. All right. So scroll up here. I will do a Command A, right mouse click, open with preview. And hopefully all the pictures will show this time. So this is the first one, 2279. And if I go all the way to the end, there's 2380. Now, these are RAW files, okay? So I opened up the wrong one, wrong folder. I need to go to JPEG. And see, both of them were selected. That's why. Okay, now I'm in JPEG. That's what happened. So go there, Shift, last one, open, 100 items. Now these are the JPEGs. And then if I go down to the last one, they're all right there. Okay? So, just to show you, I'm going to go back to the first one. If I ever get my mouse working right. And I'm going to do a Command Shift F, and it's a slideshow. Okay? And you see, pictures are looking good. They look fantastic. I'm using the 100 to 500. I was practicing with the different stabilizations, 100 or 500, zooming in, zooming out. Did different subject detections. And then if you're having difficulty in subject detection, you go to manual. And then you get focus that way. And I do have the focus help where you look at where Canon shows you where they line up, and when you see the green, it's ready to go. But as you can see, these pictures look fantastic. Okay? So I'm going to stop this. I'm going to get out of preview. Okay? Close that. Now, I'm going to go to the, I just want to make sure preview is closed. Yeah. So, same thing. I'll go to the first one, do a Command A, right mouse click, open. It'll be in the preview, 100 items. Now, these are the RAW files, okay? And I'll do the same thing here. These load up slower, but Command Shift F. Now, I want you to look at the pictures. Let me move the mouse over here. Now, you see? The picture is changing. It takes a little bit longer to show the picture. Even if the raw files look fantastic, that's what you get. So the JPEGs load faster. And you can see it changing to different modes, different colors. See? Kind of brings it in closer, and then it redoes the coloring. That's why I do JPEG. So these pictures are nice, but it confuses some people sometimes. All right. And just to show you, I'm going to close that, get out of here, close the RAW, go to JPEG, same thing. I'll just start from here, go work my way down, open. Now I'm only going to do 34 items, but the same thing. Command Shift F. You can see a slideshow. And you see the crane is moving. I was taking the pictures. I went behind the leaves. And now they're lowering it onto the platform. And then I did clouds. But you notice, you see the picture, you don't see any changing of the picture. That's why I show the JPEG. They look good enough. There's my cat. And look how sharp these pictures are. Okay? So I was practicing with the 100 to 500, different focusing. I have the older firmware 1.0.2, and it's working fine. If I couldn't get something in focus, what I would do is go into manual focus. And that's how I solved that. I had subject detection on, I had it off, I had the whole area. But I was practicing with the stabilization number 3 on the lens, is where when you hit the shutter release, then it was focusing. So it may not seem like it's focusing fast, but when I took off subject detection, it did a little bit better, but it was having a hard time with the clouds, the contrast. So I went to manual focus. And it took a little bit longer, but you can see the clouds, all right? And then the airplane, or the jet, it was just going into the clouds and it was disappearing. But still, it picked up the jet, all right? So I really don't see any issues with the lens or the camera or the firmware update. I know that Simon from the Ordinary, see, that's a little bit out of focus, but Simon from the Ordinary Filmmaker was having problems with his camera and the firmware update, and he thought it seemed a lot slower than his R5. And that's what the new firmware update. So I always hold back to see if there's any bugs or problems. And looks like there might be some, because a lot of people are saying, hey, I have a problem. And that's what I do, is see what happens. If everything's working fine, then I'll update it. But that's my take on it. I'm just showing you an easy way to convert files to JPEG. I know this is kind of long, sorry. But I wanted to share this, saying you don't have to buy certain software to convert it. Yes, you can. They do a pretty good job, but then you're spending money. Preview comes with the OS. Yes, it's not perfect. It did good, all right? So the thing is about saving some money. Just use some of the programs that you have. I chose JPEG, as the transfer over, and everything is fine. I had to do it 2 times to get it working right, but once I did, then everything worked fine. And I also explained why I took JPEG over RAW. just for YouTube. All right. I still keep the raw pictures, but for teaching purposes, this is what I do. How convert raw files to JPEG using Preview. Thank you for watching. Remember, stay safe, keep smiling, and I'll see you next time. Bye, folks. Have a wonderful day.